bars, refrigerated protein.
Making Mike's hot now.
Grab and go goodness. G2G protein bars are now available at Costco.
I had my G2G bar today. Good stuff. Again, at Costco in the refrigerated section. Well, on Saturday, Arizona State and Arizona played, and of course that game was here in Tempe, in the Phoenix area. Game turned wild. You got a headbutt. You had multiple ejections. But where it got pretty interesting, just over 30 seconds remaining in the second half, you had Caleb Love and B.J. Freeman. Caleb, of course, is with Arizona, and Sun Devil B.J. Freeman were both ejected after Freeman headbutted Caleb, and words were exchanged between the both of them, and they both got ejected. Well, the game ends. Wildcats win 81-72, and Bobby Hurley told his players to leave the court and skipped the post-game handshake line, which has been a topic on this show for a long time, on either getting rid of it or keeping it or not keeping it or what have you. But here is Bobby Hurley after the game and talking about this and talking about the fact that Arizona has no class.
Words that were said back and forth led, to the moment where Freeman, lost it and lost his cool because of the constant talk that was allowed to go on. So, I had to make a tough decision to obviously, in the best interest of our team, to get them into the locker room so there'd be no further incidents the rest of the game. If you were right near our bench, it was relentless, constant chatter, from a couple of the Arizona players that was not being policed properly. And of course they're going to be happy with winning, but it was done with no class, in my opinion.
Bobby Hurley after the game. I watched it in real time, and I was shocked. I was like, Bobby, what are you doing? He's taking his players off. I could see both sides to it. However, he talked about how loud it was on the bench. And I'm like, you have a home court. The fact that it got to that point where you're not getting the crowd going to maybe kind of mute that. I know when he got upset earlier and he got teed and he took his tie off and all that, and the place went nuts. There were a lot of Arizona fans there. But still, I just really struggle with this. And, I'm giving my G2G to Arizona to go into Tempe and to do what you did. It's embarrassing that Arizona State had to pull his players.
Yeah, when Caleb Love got headbutted by Freeman, I was surprised they both got ejected, number one.
Caleb should have been.
And exactly. So they had to hold him back from going absolutely nuts on the official. And I wouldn't blame him, because it's like, wait a second, he got headbutted. There might be some chatter going on back and forth. I get that. That's a rivalry. And I know that what Bobby's looking at is, okay, he's filling out the room. He's filling the temperature of the room. But I was the same way. To send him off, 30 seconds to go, and look, there goes, all right, you want a handshake? Well, so be it. My feeling was, at least at some point, I think you got to be the adult in the room, calm everybody down. Basically, it was a close game till the end. And you know what, guys? Hey, keep your poise, do the handshake, and get your butt to the locker room, that type of thing. And I think that's the one thing that I felt Bobby missed on this. Yeah, I knew interpreted. It was getting loud, but sometimes you got to be the guy that says, hey, look, guys, keep your poise, shake, and get your butt to the locker room. That's it.
I thought it was the absolutely correct thing to do, and here is why. Because he was on the court with everything that was going on, and he felt that if indeed they got into the handshake line, it would most likely escalate at that time. So he avoided that by sending his players off. Look, did I like that he did that? No, I did not. But I thought at the moment it was the correct call, just because it had become so heated and there was only a few seconds left in the game.
It was crazy to watch it.
It was
time.
Yes.
And you're like, all right, he's pulling his guys, and there's a couple seconds left to bring the guys back on the court. And and it was like, wow, is this really happening on your home court?
He never should have sent the bench guys to the locker room. He never should have done that.
That's kind of where I think I admit I neglected that part.
Yes,
that was what I didn't understand.
That was Bush. He never should have done. He never should have done that. He just should have, when the game ended, just waved at Tommy Lloyd and said, "Hey, it's hot. Let's
and that's all he had to do is go to Tommy and say, "Hey, we know it's a rivalry, but still, let's not get this thing escalated another level."
You know what?
We're good.
To that point, Jim, I would understand that. Game's over. Hey, let's just keep it. You know, see ya. Thanks. Good game. See you down in Tucson.
There you go.
And go from there. But you're right, Rock. I mean, to send those guys in early.
That was bad.
And then he just turned and they ran off. I mean, it wasn't even. I mean, Lloyd looked.
I think that's a bigger problem.
That was the problem right there. It wasn't so. And you guys know I'm not in favor of the handshake line. I never have been. But the way that it was handled by him sending his players off early, I thought that was really Bush. I really did.
And then him trying to explain that, it's like, Bobby, we get it. But it's like, I'm going to take my ball and go home. I'm not going to acknowledge all the above after this game. And then you hear Adam Miller in his post-game comments say, hey, look, we've got to figure out. It was all about them figuring out a way to win a game. And I thought it was class what he said. He said, look, we're in these games. We're competitive. He broke down the Iowa State game. He broke down those games that they lost and said, we have got to figure out a way to toughen up. He didn't even really get into the whole handshake thing. So basically, when Adam Miller, he stole the presser from the head coach.
He did.
He had more maturity than I hate to say than Bobby Hurley did. Reference to the whole thing.
I will say this: Arizona State does not have a finisher. They don't, and they're too young. They make mistakes in the last couple of minutes of games. They cannot close.
Quintus.
Oh,
he's going to be
a
really good player.
He's going to be good. He looks like a kid. You know, his mannerisms,
like
and he's just
I know.
Oh man, but the guy can play.
Oh, he can play. Guys, my G2G protein bar game changer is I'm going to go to going to Kentucky as Arkansas power forward Adou Thiero, who led the Razorbacks win over the 12th ranked Kentucky Wildcats 89-79. He had 21 points. 8 rebounds, 3 steals in the upset victory in John Calipari's return to Kentucky. They had lost being Arkansas 6 out of the last 7. Here comes Kentucky boasting themselves a little bit. You know, at home, everybody's anticipating Calipari. Are they going to boo him? Yeah, they're going to boo him. But this kid and that Arkansas team played like the hair on fire. This kid is all over the place. And I got to give them a lot of credit for going into Kentucky. Calipari's return back to Kentucky and winning that basketball game.
All right, before we get to Jimmy, do you want to reconsider this? Do you want to do an audible? I'm serious.
I'm going to mention this.
Okay.
I'm going to mention, and then I'm going to do a Manuch and call an audible.
So
my women's college basketball
everybody
G2G player of the game is
Georgia
Amoore, who went 15 of 22, 8 assists, 43 points for Kentucky's win over Oklahoma. Now, here's the audible. I took a beating from the boys today.
Did. Couldn't believe it.
So here's what I'm doing. Manuch, this is for you, Mr. Suns boy.
Yes, thank you.
DeAndre Ayton in the game by the Trailblazers the other night against the Suns went 11 of 12 for 24 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and a block shot. In the meantime, everybody's wonder boy, Nick Richards, scored 1 point.
How about
that? My G2G play of the game goes to DeAndre Ayton, former Phoenix Sun.
You didn't change that till Rock and I hammered you this morning.
I just didn't put it on there. You guys blistered me big time.
Why would you even go down that road, Jimmy?
Scored 43 points.
I mean, I know you're from the Northwest. And you're politically very far left.
Oh, man.
But do you really think our audience listens to us talk women's college basketball?
I didn't talk women's college
That's
basketball.
That's what that was.
No, it was the G2G player of the weekend.
Okay. So there was nobody else in college men's basketball?
Wait a minute. Now you're bashing women if they do something. God, you guys suck.
Yeah, Jimmy.
You guys are way right.
It's catering.
Yeah,
it's catering to our audience. It's not catering to women's basketball. Nothing against women's basketball.
Yeah, right.
No. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I don't follow it. I don't watch it. I have no interest in watching it. I don't like the WNBA. I'm not a fan of it.
I know.
It's just not my choice. That's what makes this country so great.
You
have a choice.
Just 43 points stood out. That's why I put it down.
All those great games with Duke and North Carolina and all the
Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag does that all the time.
Okay, but that would be a
But
G2G
DeAndre
guy.
Ayton, 11 of 12 for the
if-
Portland
if-
Trailblazers.
Here's the
the
thing:
fact.
if I
After the
didn't
fact.
No, it's
type
not.
that on the
30
lineup,
seconds.
Minucci wouldn't have said anything. So
Why
I
wouldn't
put that on because I know he's not. That's not Minucci. He's almost as left as you are.
No, I would.
So I literally said, I wrote that on the lineup. And just so you folks know, we have a lineup. And he wrote his G2G. I go, really? Women's basketball? We want listeners, or Jimmy B. Our audience doesn't watch that. And then Minucci jumps in. I agree. What the,
I said, what
Jimmy.
the what?
I told
And
you I
even
got
Jax,
beat up. I
even
got
Jax
beat up.
says this is bad. And I'm like, oh, man.
Jimmy on double secret probation for
I got
for
beat
week.
up. I'm always on double secret
Yeah,
probation.
we know.
Hey, G2G protein bars, they've been a game changer. You got to try them at Costco. You can go to g2gbar.com. They're in the refrigerator section at Costco. We're going to catch up with ABC 15's Craig Fooey, but next, Jax with another local ESPN 620 sports update.